Let's start your Monday off with a big old smack.
It's time for reaction. Welcome in. Old School Nerd.
Hey everybody, my name is Old School Nerd. It is Tuesday, and it's the first reaction of the week. Why? Because we had massive computer problems yesterday that I fought with all the way up until the point where I did the reactions to both versions of Violet Orlandi's reactions with Melinda. And then we went right into the live stream last night, and the Dungeons and Dragons game last night was hilarious and fun, and everyone understood that it was The Walking Dead meets the movie Aliens meets a bar fight with beer and a cow that got so big, a minotaur got so big, he channeled Rage Against the Machine and went bulls on parade and knocked over all the wine glasses. Yeah, it went like that. Okay, so let's get to it. Our first request of the week is from Wretched Rob. He says, Unforgettable from Godsmack. Quantity over quality, but when you have 30 drum sets and 300 plus people doing a song, it's crazy. More kids need to be introduced to metal this way. All right. I mean, if Godsmack is introducing metal to kids, I'm all for it. Good deal. All right. My name is Old School Nerd. Thank you for coming in. Like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the link to this amazing video. Will probably be in the description below. Check us out on OldSkuleNerd.com. It's got all of our social media posts. The Patreon link for those who want to help support the channel. We appreciate every single one of you. And a new reaction video is going up on Patreon today, just for Patreon viewers, because I can't put it on YouTube because it would be instantly copyright claim blocked and I would get a strike. How we roll. Also, there's a merchandise store over there on the website. Check it out. It's got some stuff like this. All right, here we go. This is Godsmack. The song is called Unforgettable, and apparently they're introducing music and metal to children. Or maybe metal music to already musically inclined. I don't know. Let's figure this out together. Let's go.
Music makes me feel like something I've never felt before, more than alive.
Music is the reason I'm not lonely most days. It keeps me safe. It's my friend when I don't have any around.
Music makes me feel understood.
It's emotion, all in a string.
No matter what language you speak, music is always a part of the culture.
Having music in your life is something that is extremely powerful.
Looks silly. Okay, everything these kids said is true. Okay, I want you to go back. Okay, go back 40 years. Okay, I'm 6 years old, and I'm already in second grade at 6 years old. I went to kindergarten when I was 4. Blew through first grade when I was 5. And I was always a year in front of everyone. So I was always the youngest person in the class by a year. And I was always the smartest person in the class. And I was really, really tiny. When I was young, I was super small. Now I'm super big. All the days I'd sit underneath trees and I would pray to God, please let me gain weight. Please let me gain weight. I'm tired of being the smallest guy. I'm tired of being so skinny. I'm tired of being picked on. If I was just bigger, I could fight back. Apparently, he heard me when I turned 30, but that's not the point. I had a few friends, but I was always just the tag along, always the tag behind. So I really gravitated to music, and I started playing drums. By the time I got to 12, I started playing drums like drum kit. In the effort that, if I'm a drummer, and I learned how to play music that everybody thought was cool, then maybe I could be cool too. And it helped a little bit. And then it also helped when I took martial arts from the time I was 6 all the way till the time I was 13, till finally I got tired of being picked on. And I beat the crap out of a kid 4 years old who was picking on me in the recess yard in front of everyone. Yeah, I stopped getting picked on that day, but the drumming didn't hurt. But music was just my way of being able to concentrate on something that gave myself validation some days, because there were days, I actually live in the house that I grew up in. I'm raising my kids in the house that I grew up in. And now it's much more developed around. But when I was a kid, you know how we talk and we make the joke that there's a cow pasture across the street from my house? Okay, well, when I was a kid, there was also a bean field behind my house, and there were no neighborhoods anywhere near here. There were times when you could be out in my front yard, and the fact a car would pass every 10 minutes or so was like, ooh, something exciting must be going on. That's how far out in the country I lived at the time. Now traffic is constant because there's development and urban sprawl. So yeah, for me, music was just a way to connect. So when I see these kids talking about music and connecting, and it gives them validation and stuff, I 100% get that. There are days when people, I have an entire YouTube channel about my reactions to music I've never heard, because music is that important. I get that. And it usually does start with children at a young age. So this video, totally get it.
Powerful and should never be taken for granted. So embrace this gift that you have, whether you listen to
You think Sully will drop an F-bomb on these kids? Highly inappropriate, but it would be funny.
it or whether you create it. It is truly a universal miracle, and it's a gift. And I'm going to show you guys how powerful music can be when we do it together.
Can you imagine if you're a kid and Godsmack comes to your school and they do a master class? Not only do you get to play all the really, you remember when you were in school and you took a music class or you were in band, you only got to play like, the classics, or you only got to play stuff that was socially acceptable, stuff from the 50s and 60s. You were playing Broadway tunes, and that was as far as it went. And if you were in a really cool school, you got to do Earth, Wind, and Fire, but even that was very rare. So all of a sudden, you show to school one day, and all of a sudden, Godsmack is there, and they're like, okay, not only are we going to play music, but we're going to play our style of music. Godsmack has a real strong groove feel to it, where Godsmack's style is straightforward rock, but with a lot of tags intermixed, and not just tags from guitars. The bass, the drums, Sully's vocals, everything literally emphasizes the next part. That's what gives Godsmack its sound. Very unique. It's funny because Godsmack can play a very, very slow tempoed song, but it sounds so full because of the way they dynamically bounce off each other in melodies and harmonies, both musically and vocally, that yeah. So for these kids, it's like we get to play good stuff. Not that the classics are not good. They are. They're just not as cool. It's the truth. Okay, favorite part of the video so far is that they take the kids to New York. They go to BMI, get to see where all these records are produced, and they get to see how all this stuff is done. And then they take them to Godsmack's recording studio, and they make sure that all the kids are looking at Sully and not looking at the painting of the woman in the heels with the devil tail and her ass hanging out. Good parenting, Sully. Good job. Way to keep those kids from seeing what you have on the wall. Hey, parents are people too. Therefore, we're human. Therefore, we have human issues. But parents, make sure the kids don't see that we're just normal. So they're going to the venue where Godsmack plans to play, and they just set up. They set up, instead of having the crowd there, I guess during sound check or during the day after setup, they just do this whole recording of the song with all the students playing. And okay, 30 drum sets makes sense. That's a lot of residual drum sets. Now, any other band would be like, man, that's a little too much drum sets, but it's Godsmack. As a band, they have a tendency to 30%, 40% of them at any given time could be playing drum sets. If you haven't seen that video, I reacted to that. Look up Godsmack on my channel, and the drum battle's on there, and it's really good. That's pretty cool. You know, sometimes, oh no. Okay, so what is music? Music is the language of emotion. It's where you take emotions and you linger them together, because our emotions never stop. So when someone asks me, hey, what is music and what is the definition of music? Music is where you take actual emotion and you put verbal or sound to it. Our language and our thoughts are segmented in words. Our emotions never just get cut off. They continually are in motion. Music. So when people say that music is very emotional versus cerebral, it is. However, when you look at a band like Rush or a band like Fractal Universe, Orbit Culture, there's a few of these bands lately that I've been checking out that layer so many different things, and they're so smartly done that it's where in the thought process, the brain, mental, gets into the emotion, and it's so structured. It requires both your mind, thought, and emotion to appreciate it. Love that stuff. That's my kind of stuff. But essentially, music can just be an emotional expression. That's why you can literally be in your car, and adults know this, kids not so much, or even kids, you could just be driving along the road and totally forget where you're at because you're emotionally invested in a song that's playing. That's another reason why some people go to sleep to music. That's why some people can, we did reactions to Violet Orlandi doing a cappella vocals with Melinda yesterday, and vice versa. And I said, man, these are bath with a glass of wine songs. Because sometimes music allows you to your emotions to wash over all of the mental strain in your mind. It allows the softening of the mental thought. But in this case, it's inspiring. Godsmack did a good thing here. Now, Is it selfishly making a video for their own video for the kids? Yeah, but they still spent time with these kids and taught these kids this song. More bands should do that. And like I just spoke to we just had a conversation with the drummer. You know, we're talking to all these different musicians, and when I spoke to this artist last week, let me talk to let me show you who I was talking to. Show you the conversation we had. So last week, you know, I'm talking to the drummer of Fractal Universe, and he was telling me that he had time to do an interview, and I was like, "Oh, that's great." I was like, "When do you have time?" And he's like, "Well, let me put it like this. When Clement got a hold of me, and I was like, dude, you have time for an interview?" He's like, "Well, I can, except I have some classes that I'm teaching students and da da da." Okay, he's a rock star. Yeah, he still takes time to give back to others. He's still teaching his craft. So if you have an instrument that you love, and you have a young person near you, or even a not so young person, a person your age, and they come up to you and say, "Hey, you play that instrument. Can you show me what you're doing?" Take that time to share that music. Because if you hold it in and you keep it to yourself, it's a selfish art. If you can share your knowledge, share what you do with others, that's really important. That's why when Caroline comes up to me and says, "Dad, I want to learn to play the cajon. I want to learn to play the djembe." Christmas, I got her own little lap cajon for her size. Why? Because my instruments are kind of big and they're overwhelming, but I want her to be able to touch into that. So this was cool because it reminds me that music is emotion. Music is the language of emotion, but music should always be shared amongst everyone. My name is Old School Nerd, and yeah, that was fun.